Hello, my A2 elementary English students. My name is Bradford, and today we will look at WH questions, okay? And don't forget that you have there in the chat box, you can write or type your questions if you have a doubt or a question about what we are talking about, and I will do my best to see it and to answer your questions. Let me move things around here a little. 1 minute. Okay, and you go up here. I hope everybody is doing well. There we go. Okay, everything is set. So let's begin by looking at our presentation. So let's take a look here. And here we have English A2 Elementary, the 28th of April, 2020. Okay, here's the date, April 28th, 2020. And today we will look at WH questions. If you have any comments or concerns or questions about today's activities or today's lesson, and you don't want to leave a comment or a chat in the chat box, you can email me here at bradford@orangeidiomas.com. All right, let me see if I can join you here in our thing. Yes, hello, here I am. Very good. All right, so let's take a look. I want to be, however, on the other side of, oh no, I don't. I want to be on this side. Yes, okay. So let's take a look at our presentation. So what are WH questions? Well, a WH question is a question that starts with a question word. A question word is what we have here. Who, what, when, where, why, which, and our exception is how. These are question words. And our questions always begin with a question word. Unless it's a yes-no question, like, do you like chocolate? Yes, I do. That is a yes and no question. WH questions want more information, okay? So who is for a person, what is for a thing or an activity, when is for a time, where for a place, why for an explanation, which for a choice, and how to explain the process of something generally. Sometimes we have an exception as in how old or how many or how much, and these words together create a different type of question. But today I want to keep it simple. And I want to look at the structure and some common mistakes that people at the elementary level make when creating or making WH questions. So let's take a look at what are the possible mistakes. So we have different question types, and here is an answer, a normal answer. Let's look at this. It says, Brenda studies math with her sister on Thursdays. And here we have a lot of information, okay? Brenda, the person, studies an action, math, what she studies, with her sister, so we have the two of them together, so who she studies with, and Thursdays, the time. So we can ask a lot of WH questions for this sentence. And looking at the orange word, Brenda, our question is who? All right? Who studies math with her sister on Thursdays? Well, the answer is Brenda. Brenda studies math with her sister on Thursdays. And if we look at with her sister, the other person in this sentence, well, this is also a who, but now it's who with. And notice the with is at the end. Who does Brenda study math with? The preposition does not go at the beginning of the sentence, but at the end of the sentence. Where are you from? Okay, who does she study math with? The preposition goes at the end of the question. Another question is, well, what is she studying, right? What's the topic? And this is a what question. Another what question is the activity. What activity is she doing? So another what. What is she doing? Or what does she do on Thursdays? We can also look at the time on Thursdays. So when? When? And the answer to this question is, well, on Thursdays. We can also ask an additional question. We can add some more information to our sentence. At the library. Now we're talking about a location. And this is where. So here we are asking, where does Brenda study with her sister on Thursdays? Well, the answer is at the library. So we have a lot of information in this sentence, and we can ask a lot of different questions. So what is special about all of these questions? Well, we have two types of questions. We have the first type of question, which is in the red box, where it's who, and the answer is Brenda. And these are subject questions. A subject question is when you are asking for the extra information is the subject of the answer. So who studies math with her sister on Thursdays? Well, Brenda studies math. Brenda is the subject. We are asking about Brenda. Brenda studies math. Who studies math? Brenda studies math. This is a subject question. The who and Brenda are the subject of the question. Then we have in the blue box, we've got object questions. And these questions all have information later in the statement, okay, and are objects of or different parts of the sentence, okay? They are not the subject of the sentence, who is Brenda. They are different. And with these with these questions, we use an auxiliary verb to create the question. With subject questions, we do not use an auxiliary verb. Okay? Remember. So in our table, we can see I study, you study, he, she, it studies, we study, they study. This is the present simple English. And the question in the present with an object question, we need to use one of these auxiliary verbs. Do with I, you, we, and they, or does with he, she, and it. And these tell us that this is an object question. Where does he study English? When does he study English? Why does he study English? How does he study English? Or how do you study English? These ones are with the object questions. The subject question, who studies English? We are asking for the subject. Well, he studies English. he studies English, or I study English, or they study English, and I'm giving you answers to my questions. Okay? So notice that who is third person. Who studies English? We never say who study English. No. Who studies English? Brenda studies English. Mary studies English. I study English. We study English. Who studies English? Everybody studies English. All right? So with that, we know we can make an object question with do or does in the present, or a subject question but with no do or does, no auxiliary. Let's take a look at our samples. And there aren't many people here live right now with me, so whoever is here, please feel free to write in the answer if you care to. If not, I will slowly go through the answers to help you understand word order and how to make questions properly in the present and past tense. So here we go. Thomas studies English at college. Where? At college. Where does Thomas study? Where? So where is an object question. Where does Thomas study? We're not asking about the subject, Thomas. We're asking about the location of where Thomas studies. So where does Thomas study? Does, because we don't ask the question words in first person. It's always where does. Okay, well, yeah, no, I'm sorry. Here it's where does Thomas study because of Thomas. He is a man, right? Okay, my apologies. That was quick. I almost made a very big mistake. So, number 2, her friend lives in London. It's very similar. Where? In London. So what's the answer? Where does her friend live? Where does her friend live? And we again we have does because of her friend, she or he. We don't know. Her friend could be a boy, her friend could be a girl. Where does her friend live? And this is a question. I didn't write the question mark because we have the question mark here. All right. Susan studies math. What? What does Susan study? What does Susan study? And I'll make sure I'm not in the way here. I'll try to get out of the way. In fact, no, I can't go on the other side because I'll be in the logo. So, what does Susan study? The next one, Eva lives in New York. Eva lives in New York. Let me just move this over. Eva lives in New York. So now we have a little difficult one, a tricky one. Who? Not where, who? And the answer is Eva. And Eva is the subject of our question and the subject of our answer. So Eva, we are going to create a subject question. Who lives in New York? There is no do and there is no does because Eva is the subject. Eva lives in New York. Who lives in New York? Number 5. His brother always gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's not a who and it's not what, it's when. the time he gets up. So this is an object question, and we need the auxiliary. And it's when does his brother get up? Or when does his brother always get up? But we can say, when does his brother get up? Number 6, continuing with these present questions, but now we cannot see the table. We have to remember, you cannot see the examples above. Mr. Brown goes to work by bus. How does Mr. Brown... Oops, I almost told you the answer. I will tell you the answer. So, how is the question. Now we're looking for an explanation. We're looking for the way that he does something. How does Mr. Brown go to work? He goes to work by bus. The supermarket sells apples. Apples. What? The question is what. The answer is apples. So, what does the supermarket sell? What does the supermarket sell? Okay. They usually travel to the countryside on holidays. The question is, where? Where? The answer, to the countryside. Al campo, to the countryside. So, where do they usually travel to on holidays? Where do they usually travel to on holidays? Okay. Where do they usually travel to on holidays? Now here we use do. Let me just highlight that. Do, because with they, remember, they do. He does, she does, the supermarket does, Mr. Brown does, but they do. Where do they usually travel on holidays? Number 9, Richard is a teacher. He teaches English. So what? And the answer is teaches, the activity. What does he teach? Or what does Richard teach? Both answers are correct. Richard and he. What does he teach? And number 10. This bus goes to the shopping mall. The shopping mall. The question is where? The answer is to the shopping mall. So, where does this bus go? It goes to the shopping mall. So obviously, we have subject questions. We only saw 1. And object questions. We saw 9 with do and with does. If you have any questions or doubts about that, you can leave a comment below and I will try to answer your question. Now let's look at the past. Last week we did the past and we saw how to make the past simple, how to make the questions, and how to make the negative. This week, let's concentrate a little bit more on the on the question of the past simple, only because it can be a little tricky, a little difficult. In the past, remember, to make a sentence, you use ed if the sentence is regular. If the verb is regular. He washed the car. Washed, ed. Washed, wash, ed, the car. He washed the car. However, sin embargo, in the past questions, we don't use ed and we don't use another or a different conjugation of the verb. We use did to help us make the question. Not do, not does, did. Did is the past of do and does, and it helps us make object questions in the past. So who did you wash the car with? What did he wash the car with? Where did he wash the car? When did she wash the car? How did we wash the car? And why did they wash the car? There is no difference in auxiliary verbs. Did is the same for everyone. I did, you did, he did, she did, we did, they did. All of it's the same. Where did she, did he, did we, did they, did I, did you. No change. So let's look at the examples, or the example, and do some of our own questions. Sam washed the car. Past simple. The verb ends with ed. That's all perfect. So why? Why did Sam wash the car? Why did Sam wash the car? Here we have did. Sam is the subject. Wash the car. Why did Sam, he, wash the car? They ate dinner. Okay. Where? Where? Where did they eat dinner? Where? Notice did and eat, the infinitive of ate. So we do not use ate, the past. No, we use did plus the infinitive eat. Let me get my pointer. I saw my friend. Number 3. Who? This could be a subject question or an object question. It depends. The object question, we are asking about my friend. The subject question, we are asking about me. Who did you see? This is the object question. Who did you see? I saw my friend. My friend is the answer. I saw my friend. Who saw my friend? Now that would be the subject question, but we're not going to pay attention to that right now. Let's concentrate on the object questions and get these sorted out. Okay, the telephone rang. Sonó. The telephone rang. When? Did the telephone ring? Ring is the infinitive of rang. Ring, rang, rung. Ring. When did the telephone ring? They came to school by bus. Well, how is the question. By bus is the answer. So how, in the past, did they come to school? Did shows us that the question is in the past. The verb come is in the infinitive. How did they come to school? Let's try a few more without the help, up there, without the help of our table. Ms. Brown bought a new coat. I might have made a mistake. Ms. Brown bought a new coat. Well, the answer is a new coat. The question is what? And I did make a mistake. I wrote Mr. Brown. It's Ms. Brown. My mistake. Let me make that better. Ms. Brown. This is supposed to be Ms. Brown. There we go. Ms. Brown. What did Ms. Brown buy? She bought a new coat. Okay. The party started at 3 o'clock. When? The time. We want to know the time. So, when did the party start? It started at 3 o'clock. It started, ed, at 3 o'clock. But in the question, when did the party start? I saw a ghost. Vi una fantasma. I saw a ghost. Where did you see the ghost? Did you see the ghost in the attic? Did you see the ghost in the basement? Did you see the ghost in the garden? Where did you see the ghost? Where did, in the past, you see the ghost? Number 9. She went home. Went is the past of go. She went home. Why did she go home? Remember to use go, not went. Why did she go home? And number 10. He read a magazine. And I know this is in the past, read, pronunciation, because there is no S. If it's the present, it would say he reads a magazine, but it's not. There is no S. He read a magazine. The answer, or the question is, what? Well, the answer is a magazine. What did he read? He read a magazine. Okay, I hope that's clear, and I hope we can see that in the past simple, questions, we use did, then the subject, and then the infinitive of our verb. We don't use the past tense of the verb in questions, or in negatives for that matter. We use the did. So I have 12 questions and some multiple choice. I went shopping is the answer. Did you do yesterday? So the activity. What did you do yesterday? Where did you do yesterday? Or who did you do yesterday? Well, it's an activity. I went shopping. So is it A, B, or C? The answer is not B. It's not B. The answer is A. Why did I have B? Sometimes I tell you, I do things and I don't know what's happening. Okay, so the answer is A. It's not B. What did you do yesterday? I went shopping. Okay, I went shopping. What did you do yesterday? I went shopping. I hope I didn't make a mistake on all of these. Did you get in San Francisco? Who did you get to San Francisco? Where did you get to San Francisco? Or how did you get to San Francisco? Well, we traveled by bus. So this is the manner, the way, la manera, that we got to San Francisco. And here the answer is how. We're not asking about a person, so who, and we're not asking about a place, no, we're asking about get to San Francisco. Llegar. ¿Cómo llegaste? How did you get to San Francisco? We traveled by bus. Old were you last year? I was 23. I was 23. So we are asking about age. And if you remember, to ask about age, we use the question. That's right. How old? How old are you? I'm 42. How old are you? I'm 18. How old is she? She's 24. How old is he? He's 32. How old were you last year? I was 23. Okay, so those were 3 in the past. Now let's do 3 in the present. Does Michael get to work? Well, get. Get is llegar. We remember that llegar, we remember that get is llegar, and that is talking about the manner or the way that he does something. So we know this is how. How does Michael get to work? Does because it's Michael, third person, he. Old are you? Well, we just did this. Acabamos de hacer esto. How old are you? I'm 23. Is that? It's a butterfly. A butterfly. It's a thing. So, are we talking about what, where, or who? Yes, what? Because it's a thing. What? An animal is a thing. What? It's a butterfly. The last 6, and then we're done for our practice today. Do cows eat? So this is the present. We have the auxiliary do. They eat grass. They eat grass. So are we asking about the manner, the way cows eat, the thing cows eat, or the time cows eat? We're asking about the thing cows eat, la cosa. So here is, what do cows eat? In the next one, is your best friend. Sophia is my best friend. Well, Sophia. Sophia is the subject. So, what is your best friend? Who is your best friend? Or why is your best friend? Are we asking about a thing, a purpose, or an explanation? A thing, a person, or an explanation. That's right, a person. A person, so who is your best friend? Good. Do you usually get up? I usually get up at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, huh? Okay. Time, explanation, or a person. When, why, or who. That's right. When do you usually get up? What time? Yeah, I usually get up at 6 o'clock. When do you usually get up? Now, our last 3 are in the past. Did you have lunch? We had lunch at noon. At noon, a mediodía. So, is this how did you have lunch? What did you have lunch? Or when did you have lunch? It's the time, noon, and for time we ask, no, I made another mistake. Oh dear. Bradford. We're asking, when did you have lunch? Madre mía. I can't believe it. Well, Thank you for being so patient with me. When did you have lunch? We had lunch at noon. Not what did you have lunch? That doesn't make sense. Was your teacher. Ms. Jones was my teacher. And again, we have the subject, was my teacher. What was my teacher? Sorry. What was your teacher? Who was your teacher? Or why was your teacher? Who was your teacher? This is a subject question. Who was your teacher? Ms. Jones was my teacher. Who? Ms. Jones. And finally, were you late? I missed the bus. Perdí el autobús. So, are we asking about time, an explanation, or a person? We're asking about an explanation. Why? Why were you late? I missed the bus. I missed the bus. Okay. If you have any questions about the past simple or the present simple and how to make questions, WH questions or yes and no questions, either subject questions or object questions, you can send me an email or you can leave a comment below. Please, if you think this information is useful, you can like the video, leave a comment, hopefully positive. I'm doing my best in these times to give as much information as I can to as many people as possible and to help my students here at Orange Language Academy as much as we can while we are not allowed to meet in person. Thank you very much, everybody, and I wish you a good week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.